and welcome to another episode of Leslie Said What? Yes, welcome, guys. Welcome. I am super excited about my guests tonight. As I always say, they're all great. So, of course, I'm always super excited to have them all. Tonight, we have Mr. Jerry Della Salla. Oh, gosh, I forgot to ask him if it was Sala or Sala. Oh, Jerry, correct me when you get in here. But Jerry Della Salla, I hope that's how you say it. Is my guest tonight, and I am super excited to have him here. He has worked in several projects. If you check out his IMDb, which I am going to scroll here below, there you go. He's worked alongside Matt Damon in Green Zone. He's worked in a whole bunch of other stuff that I can't remember, but again, I'm sure he can tell you, as well as his IMDb. I always get those letters mixed up, guys. I always get them mixed up. So if you are here, say hello in the comments. Make comments throughout. Feel free to ask questions. Remember, this show has no main, protocol. Like, it's chill. Like, we're all laid back. We're just talking. So have at it. So be sure to say hello so we know that you're here and that we can acknowledge you. All right. There we go. First, hey, Natalie, girl, I am so excited that you are here. As always, thank you so much. You are always so supportive. That is my girl. All right. You guys know me. I don't dawdle and come up with a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. I just jump right into it because don't nobody got time for that. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and show you Mr. Jerry Della Salla's reel, aka trailer of himself, I guess is how you would say it. I don't know. But basically a little video that explains or shows you some of his past work. Okay? Get ready for it because here it's coming at you.
How many stab wounds does it take before someone dies?
This I don't know. This is beyond the realm of my experience. But what I do know, Joey, pretty boy Danelli, you do know what I do know, right?
I don't think we should go in yet, Chief. Let's get some... No. And we can go in. Jerry, I got no idea what's coming out here. I gotta go right now. Keep comms up and I'll be on 5. Get a second team ready.
Chief, what are we doing?
Hey, I'm gonna need his car keys. Freddie, give him your car keys.
My keys? Chief, you don't believe this guy, do you?
Look, I want to go real low vis on this. I want to take Freddie's car, and I want to get maybe one other. If we roll over there in those Humvees, they're gonna see us coming. Hey, you guys ready to go to work?
Oh yeah, Chief.
Chief, let me talk to you, please.
What?
Chief, our mission is here.
We can't sit around and dig holes all day. I want to get something done.
Hey, Sergeant Wilkins, I gotta talk to you. We gotta go get our prisoner back. Find this guy, Al-Rawi.
Let Bethel handle it, please.
No, Bethel can't see past the files on his desk.
So what, you're gonna ring the doorbell now and ask special forces
No,
to
I'm
hand
gonna
him
use
over?
the book and trade up and get some help.
What are you talking about?
Stay away, man. I'll do it right now, I will.
Steve, look at yourself. Look at these people. Look what you're doing. You're scaring them. You're scaring their kids. Now, you're not gonna kill yourself. Not here, not now, not ever. Now, just give me the gun.
Away from me, Joey!
What are you gonna do, Steve? You're gonna shoot a gimp, huh? Is that what you're gonna do? Go ahead, shoot me. Finish what the Haji started. Go ahead! No, you're not gonna kill me, Steve. You know why? Because you saved my life. For what? So that you can come here and shoot me now?
I need you to Diddy Mao over to Frank's. You understand? You'll cover fire. We'll come at your 3. You copy?
Check, sir.
Roger. 1, 2, 3. Move! Move!
Just breathe. Almost here. Come on.
Smitty, hey, Cleveland, stay. Smitty, you go get him. Smitty!
You know he can't do it. I can do it, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
How long has it been? It's not true. That is one annoying ringtone. That is the kind of ringtone that gets you shot. Oh, by the way, your mother just called.
Well done, Jerry. Well done. I'm sorry. The cell phone thing always cracks me up, the ringtone. Anyway, without further ado, let's bring in Jerry. Hey, Jerry.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Hey, listen, that opening jingle I loved. I was bebopping to it the whole time I
oh,
really.
thanks. Kevin Collier did that for me, so I
Hi,
always give
all
him his
right.
credit. Yeah, he hooked me up.
It,
Yeah.
it's not a surprise. He's a
Yeah, he is awesome. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm telling you, that last part always cracks me up with the cell phone ringtone. I started laughing because I knew it was coming. Oh
Yeah.
my
Did you
gosh.
watch? It's on the CMM channel.
Oh, is that
the whole
okay?
thing? Yeah, you can watch it. It's fun.
What's
Yeah.
that one called?
It's
Is it called Wireless?
Yeah, Wireless. We put together. I wrote the kind of treatment to it. And Chris and Thor Ramsey kind of penned out the script, and it's a 12-minute little mob comedy, and we had some great traction with it. We did really well at 168, which is the big Christian film fest out here. Josh Murray, who you should interview, he's a great brother in Christ. He's got a lot of things going on too.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's the one that I kind of beat up throughout the movie.
Gotcha. Now that makes sense.
He's in the other clip in that too, For Love of a Fish, where he plays the disgruntled vet.
Oh, okay.
And I just did a small scene for Josh's upcoming film called Gym Rat, which is a kind of a dark comedy about a guy that just came out of prison, and he's got these disillusions of becoming the next Mr. Olympia. And Josh is a real craftsman. He's a good friend and colleague, and we've worked 3 times together. But there's this thing that we joke about, and every one of the things we worked in, we're beating each other up. And so in the soon to be one, Gym Rat, there's that as well. I play a cop. I kind of arrest them, and it's like, Josh, I just want to do a scene where I talk with you. So
you're like, I promise we like each other. You're like, I promise we really do like each other. This is for film only.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, because he's on my list actually.
Get him on
contact.
Your list.
Yeah.
He's
one of the names that Kristen gave me. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I'll have to reach out. So Jerry, tell us about yourself. Who is Jerry Della Salla? Is it Salla or Salla? Did I say it right? You should have seen me. I was like Salla.
The last kid that called me Della Salad, I think was in the 5th grade, and I got suspended for punching him in the nose.
Oh jeez.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Let's be glad this is digital.
You said it right. Della Salla.
Salla?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. For me.
You got
applause
it.
for me.
You got it.
I always say it's practice from all those years because I'm a high school teacher. So like practicing those kids' names at the beginning of the year every year, that's where I get it from.
Yeah, I'm just a Jersey boy from Morris County, North Jersey, and there's a lot of us Italians out there, so
Oh yeah, for sure.
So what the heck am I doing out here in LA? I got no idea.
Well, I think it's awesome. Definitely. Yeah. Hey, when you're brave enough to uproot and move, hey, I always say it's a thing. I moved to Kuwait City, and I lived there for 4 years. Yeah, okay. Just because I wanted to travel. So I was Kuwait City. Why not move to Kuwait? Yeah.
I was stayed up there when we landed. I was stayed up there for 3 weeks on a military base before they pushed us north.
Yeah.
To our ultimate mission in Iraq. But, I remember Kuwait. And it was just this barren kind of dry, this is going back 04, 05. But I said, boy, this would be a really great, if they can develop it, kind of, Mediterranean or Arab hotspot. And they did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it literally is. And now, like you said, a lot of the military that they go through there on their way to
Yeah.
somewhere else in the Middle East. And but it has definitely become more westernized. That is for sure. Hello, sweetie.
You mind? You said this was a free falling interview, so
Yeah, Christopher brought his dog on, so hey.
Oh, okay. See?
Yeah. Hey, sweetie, what's your name?
What's your name?
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah. I love that name.
Okay, say bye. Say bye. Okay, honey.
Bye, Aaliyah. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aw, yeah, no worries.
She's getting a little bit of the hamage from her father, so
Aw.
she obeyed the camera. She did it on the last interview. So.
Aw, well, she is welcome for sure.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
funny because, like, literally, Christopher was like, "Hey, my dog's at the door. You mind if I pull my dog in?" I was like, so he goes, "Here's my dog." So yeah, no worries. We are free for all.
Awesome,
So
awesome.
Jerry, why acting? Like, what brought you to acting?
You know, I always go back to, like, I guess really where it started. And that was in college back in the late 80s. Oh my God, I'm dating myself. Yeah, and I was actually a pretty good football player coming out of high school. So I was recruited by this small school in New Jersey to play. But the problem was my first year, I didn't have the GPA coming out of high school to qualify me as an NCAA athlete at the time. Yeah, you got to have a certain GPA coming into college to qualify. And my last year in college, I'm sorry, my last year in high school, I kind of goofed off, you know, and I still graduated, but I needed to up that. So I had to take the first year off and just play intramurally. And that was what made me take an acting class. And that acting class led to, you know, it led to kind of this kind of like revelation of, you know,
Like, hey, maybe I should do this forever.
yeah. So, hey. So that was kind of how it started. And I started doing plays, started doing, you know, some small stuff. And then I wound up getting accepted to NYU.
Nice.
I auditioned for them, and this is my agent now.
She is totally fine.
She's a publicist. She's an agent. And then that led me to New York, and I just kind of put the whole, you know, football athletic thing kind of like to bed, and I put on the tights, and there you go. I started doing stage.
Literally.
Yep, and it's been great, you know. I mean,
Hey, football tights to stage tights.
Right,
What's the difference? No big deal. No big deal. And then, so when you finished with football, you switched to acting.
I did.
And then when you went to acting, was it there any type of what was it? When you said you went to NYU, was that your major in theater and stuff?
I was actually no. I was going for performance studies, but I majored in dramatic literature, and I figured, you know, looking back, it was the smarter thing to do, because dramatic literature major is like you know it's like a sexier version of English, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
And then
Never heard it that way.
I minored in performance, so I was able to kind of get both, and get the acting training as well.
Oh, cool.
And I studied with the Stella Adler, who's the legendary acting coach of all the famous New York lore that she kind of garnered. She trained everybody and their mother, from, you know, Marlon Brando to De Niro to Meryl Streep and 1,000 others. I got to be fortunate to see her alive in certain lectures because of my NYU.
Nice.
And that was a real blessing. As hard as she was, you know.
Yeah.
So,
but hey,
the
harder they pound, the better you come out, right?
Yeah, I was definitely studying to be a thespian and a dramatist, and I didn't realize, unfortunately, until after I graduated, that I'm really a comic at heart, a clown. You know, I come from a funny family, and as good as I was with the drama, and you probably saw that with the reel, but unfortunately, there's a lot of work on stage, and even in some films I've done I really take pride in, because they're just full blown comedies, slapstick, and those.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, and then Wireless is a little bit of a kind of a tease on that.
That was cracking me up. I was like, is it supposed to be funny? Because it really is.
It is, yeah.
Okay, because I was like, maybe that was supposed to be
Yeah.
serious.
A mobster has a problem performing a hit that he's done 1,000 times because he's being invaded by the Holy Spirit, and so he, if you wish to watch it, you'll see what happens. He's like.
Oh my
He's constantly coming up limp because he can't do what he's done his whole life, because he's converting. And and the one he's trying to kill is actually a believer, even though they're in the mob business. And
OMG.
yeah, and he's trying to witness to him to not kill him, obviously. And
yeah.
so
Apparently.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that sounds funny. And that's the Wireless one, all right?
That's the Wireless, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, guys, look that up on Creative Motion Network, the same Roku channel where you can find Leslie Said What. You can also find Wireless. Can you find the fish one too?
That's up there. We won for best. I think it was best adults topic movie, but it's really a series pilot that we did.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't do that with Chris though. It was a whole different other company.
Yeah.
And that's the first film first TV pilot film I did with Josh.
Oh, okay,
I
cool.
was the military advisor on that, plus the co-star. So a really good, strong drama to kind of counter the comedy of Wireless, where it's just For Love of Fish is a beautiful. I've really, really been proud of it, because it's just this very beautiful, poetic dialogue, if you will, on the struggles of veterans when they come home, and mental health, and how if they're unchecked and they're uncared for,
like so many,
right? Yes, 22 suicides a day.
Stop it! I had no idea.
Yeah,
I knew PTSD was pretty bad, but I had no idea it was to that extent.
So
wow,
it's this beautiful kind of metaphor where, in the TV pilot we gave up, it shows kind of the war at home factor, and particularly not just with the veteran who's returning, but with the spouse who, all this time that he was deployed, suffered her own trauma, and how she had to deal with it as a military spouse.
That's in this movie?
Yeah, it's
wow, that's deep.
Yeah, the wife of Josh's character had a miscarriage, but he wasn't there to obviously support, because he was deployed.
Yeah.
So she's kind of like dealing and kind of wading through the waters, if you will, of all that, and it's kind of a situation where this fish that they both won at better times in their lives, when they were just starting out and they had the whole kind of road ahead of them in life, and none of these traumas occurred yet. The fish kind of plays as this symbol or this metaphor throughout the movie of hope. And
wow.
It's kind of a Christian theme, and
yeah,
and it served very well, because it's kind of, it's her psychological crutch, and it's his way of having to work his stuff out and be able to reach her. And at the end of it, there's the message of hope, and you could say redemption to each other. It's just a beautiful movie, and
that's amazing. I have to watch that.
Watch the movie, yeah.
You've given me 2 movies to watch. We just went on summer break, so this is perfect.
Yeah.
Go ahead and fill my binge list. So tell me, what is your most recent work? Like, what have you been working on?
I got a lot of stuff in development now, Leslie. I did a reading in a role, go figure, a mob role, for Chris Shaw and Thor Ramsey. We did a really good, successful reading of a script that they're trying to get some pre-production funding behind. And if so, hopefully I'll be a part of it.
Nice.
It's called The Piano Movers, and
Mm.
it's a full-blown comedy about. It's really funny. Yeah, Thor is a great screenwriter. I don't know if you saw Church People.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that's him and Chris. Wireless is him and Chris and me and Josh. But this new script they have is just hilarious, and
That is awesome.
it's like it's a funny, interesting kind of comedy of errors.
Mhm.
And, that always makes good slapstick. And
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
and I'm in partnership right now on a screenplay based on my own theatrical stage play that I wrote, which is loosely based on my deployment.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's called Miracle at Camp Redemption, and I've kind of been in the beginning outlining stages of a treatment to a screenplay that will work off of the play format that I've written for the stage, and hopefully cross level it into a screenplay. And so I've got kind of a writing gig and a hopeful acting gig that's
Yeah.
circling the runway of production. So
That's what's up.
yeah.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
So hey, like especially post pandemic to have two things in the works is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's and at the same time I'm kind of like in this kind of limbo thing where I'm like, I just kind of wait on the Lord right now. I think in so many ways spiritually it's better for me. And it should be better for everybody. I mean, I think our number one goal as Christians should be to with every day look to get closer to God,
Mhm.
and a lot of that then becomes personal. And all right, well, what does this do to deny that with me, as opposed to what does that do to help me? We were talking through email before today, and you were asking me what other venues do I have social media wise, and I'm like, I don't really have any. So it's like IMDb, or it's Parlor, or it's nothing.
Yeah.
Never been a Twitter guy, never been an Instagram guy. I just deactivated Facebook. I was like, I'm gonna try.
That's so freeing.
Yeah, it is. It's been 100 days, and all I would do, and I still do this, I check in at like every day 30, and I'll pop in and say, hey, it's me, just checking in. And it's interesting. I don't think in some ways, if you're going to use it to promote a business, okay, then just say that, that's fine. If you're going to use it to promote your brand, then just say that, and what's interesting is I found, particularly unfortunately within the Christian communities, like they're saying they're doing this and staying on a website that its founders wants nothing to do with you as a conservative. They don't want you there. They've kind of proven that already. But okay, you want to still hold presence there. If you do it for and in the name of Christ, then I completely endorse that. But so many of my friends, I just kind of see that they're not telling the truth with that. It's like every single day, 90% of the time, it's about them climbing a wall, them riding a bike, doing a 5K. Mandy Moo just graduated kindergarten. That's what it's about. And I've always felt like, okay, well, isn't that kind of feeding an egocentrism? That really is the portal into pride. And that's really my reason for kind of wanting to put a stop on it and see how that does for me on a devotional level, on a spiritual level. And it's been enormous. It's been, I'm in the Word every morning at 6 a.m. I'm doing at least a 30-minute devotional every day. I'm not going right to the phone so I can start fighting with someone. So all that stuff is gone, and to me it's it's just been a real sanctifying experience. I strongly advise it to everyone for at least trying it during Lent. so
I totally 150% support you. Like, that's something that I did. I literally eliminated all social media because it was so toxic. Like, it literally
but you
drove
have a
me
real reason for
crazy.
it. Yeah, your show
Yeah.
is. I understand. Look, if it's a show and your show is
Yeah.
centered, and so I'm all for that. Where is the line? Is my belief. It's like where I think
Mhm.
where it becomes, I think where I think it becomes alerting or should become alerting especially to the believer is do you know how far you may be going on any of these Twitter, Instagram, Facebook into that realm of potentially sinning. I mean, and sinning in the manner of you know just self glorification, you know um um and I was there, but I'm not going to accuse somebody of something else if I did it myself.
Yeah.
So if I'm not going to admit that I did it myself, which I admit I did, so that was kind of one of the reasons why I kind of had to step off.
Yeah.
But if you're doing a business or a brand, which is like a business, I mean, then I'm all for it, just as long as you stay centered on that.
Yeah, and see, and that's the thing that drives me crazy is honestly, I know this sounds weird, but it was more of like freeing to the point where I don't have to think about like you said, checking your phone, and then literally like it becomes so like I don't know. I always say there's something in there. Like I always tell my sisters,
Yeah.
there's something associated with it that goes deeper spiritually than we realize. Like because honestly, like it's like you have to, you got to check it, and you got to know,
No,
and you got to see how many people like this and how many people. I don't give honestly, I don't give a crap about any of that. All I want to do is like put myself out there so that people will call on me to do comedy. That's all I care about. And I use it also for my teaching, like to put stuff out for people to call on me for teaching stuff. Other than that, I don't give a crap. And if I
yeah,
didn't have to do my comedy or my teaching, I'd be out. And the
that's
thing
right.
is when I deleted it all before, let me tell you, Jerry, I'm literally, it was something like spiritual. Like it
Oh
was just
man,
like,
yeah,
oh, like
yeah,
if there
yeah,
was
yeah,
music that could be
yeah,
associated
yes,
with it,
yes, yes.
it like the feeling was amazing, and I was like, well, I can deal without it. Like I'll figure out a way to promote my comedy without it. People did it long before I did that,
Yeah,
but it didn't happen. Like it literally plummeted everything because people,
yeah.
that whole it, if you're not seeing, what is it like, if you don't see it you don't remember it, whatever the word is for that. Anyway, there was something like basically
Out of sight, out of mind, or something.
out of sight
Yeah,
of mind. Thank you. That's
yeah.
exactly out of sight, out of mind. So like, if you didn't, people forgot I did it, and they forgot to call on me for an event or whatever because they forgot I did. So just kind of keeping myself out in front of people. But even then, it drives me insane
I
because it's
know.
like, yeah.
The one thing I did save, I didn't deactivate this because they give you the option. I did save the instant messaging, so
Yeah.
that people
They let you keep that.
so they can reach me and we can have an actual real conversation outside of the entire Facebook universe. Where if you enter into a feed on any given topic, the second you enter that feed publicly, everybody comes in out of nowhere to pile on, and it's like
Mhm.
now you're like in a tug of war with somebody you've never met. You're never going to meet them. So I was like, you're talking about, and that's a good point. There's something in that, and I firmly believe, if you really look at this kind of present social media technological wave that we're a part of, which is unregulated, it's unchecked. Okay,
Mhm.
we've learned that sadly. Um,
Mhm.
it is highly censorship based and sadly fascistic.
Yeah.
It's not condoning in any sense whatsoever your belief or mine in
Mm-mm.
regards to the First Amendment. So it tries to suppress that. At the end of the day, I said, why would you want to be a part of that? If Christians, and I firmly believe this, and I read the metrics on this based on data, and think about it. Why did they try and shut down? They did shut down, actually. Let me correct myself. Parler. The second Parler became the number one downloaded website, and much serving itself as a Twitter alternative for conservative-minded, faith-based people, is when all these tech giants ganged up and did exactly what I had said. Is I always said, I said, this is great, but I'm telling everybody, be careful, because you know what? If you're still needing to depend on like an Apple store, which Parler at the time did, to run your app, do you think they're going to let you take them over? You're a competitor. But also because you're not only a competitor, you're promoting yourself as a conservative-minded Twitter, opponent, so that you can speak freely, and not get removed or deleted or tagged or notified, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And lo and behold, in January, for the first time, they dropped their app, which meant Parler went down. So, all of these unregulated, tech giants, I was like, why would you want to be on there? If everybody left, everybody that was conservative or Republican, you would really hit them worse than you would if you just tried to stay on, and whatever.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Leah.
You're taking so long.
Taking so long.
I promise, Leah, we are not going to be on here much longer. I promise.
She just speaks in the content.
Oh, she sounds. That's literally how my niece is. She's like, "Oh my gosh, you take forever." But yeah, no, I totally agree with you on this whole social media. I don't know, like with me spiritually, like I know for me, like I often discern things and I can't put my finger on it. You know what I mean? Like you can't put your finger on it, you can't name it, you can't call it something, but you just know there's something within there.
Yeah.
So that's exactly how I feel about social media.
I mean, if you look at the psychological kind of construct of its infrastructure, like buttons, certain individuals and groups of people that are censored, and only those people, like buttons and friends and blocking people. All of these things trigger a dopamine effect along with, oh, did I get 8,000 likes on my last post? All of these things trigger an addictive thing. And they've actually talked to some psychological analysts of it. And they said, yeah, it's actually much likened to a drug. And I just felt like, you know what, let me see if that's true. And I started it on this little kind of like Lent, thing where I would deny it for 21 days.
Yeah.
And my God, those first 2 weeks, Leslie, oh my God, it was so hard. It was like,
where's my phone? Where's my phone? Where's my phone? Yeah.
I was detoxing. It was like, so I challenge everybody. If you don't think you're addicted to it, take the Jerry Della Salla 21-day Lent challenge.
There you go.
And if you don't find yourself at least one day convulsing during that, an impulse to try and go to that website, and you can't. If you don't find yourself doing it, then you're not addicted. But I am guaranteeing a lot of money. Everybody who takes my challenge will find themselves doing that.
Yeah.
And that should be the answer that you become most concerned with.
Yeah. Because I had gotten to the point where I would just post, like I said, with like my comedy stuff or whatever. But then Facebook and Instagram have this thing I'm not sure you're familiar with, but it's called the algorithm, where in order to keep up with their algorithms, you have to go through and like and comment or whatever, or your stuff gets pushed down. So people won't see it.
Think about, I'm so glad you brought that up. Algorithm. There are algorithms that are in place. We're talking about there's something definitely in there. Let's just call it. It's something definitely evil that's in there.
Yeah.
So you brought up the perfect word, because it's so true to the nature of that site, Facebook. The algorithms that they set up actually set out more or less a feed to communicate back to Facebook who is clicking on what, which would then identify probably who is a conservative, who is a liberal, etc. And once they find a way that you have enough clicks or posts or whatever that you've centered your your Facebook page on and are doing on a daily basis, then they categorize you as such, and the algorithm now censors you. How do I know this is true? Because I used to have such a wider audience, definitely before the Trump years.
Yeah.
And where I would post something, I would get hundreds of likes and stuff. By the end of 2020, what that algorithm did is it shrunk my audience of receiving my post to like 25.
Yep.
I had over 1,600 friends when I deactivated it. And that's what the algorithm does. It says, you're this mindset and you're of this group think, and we don't agree with you, and that's the truth. They'll shrink you.
Yeah.
So when you post something, you think it goes to everybody. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't. 5% of people see your post. 5% of the people who actually follow you see your post.
Well,
so it's like
5% of the people, if you're conservative, will see your post.
Exactly.
If you're liberal, if you're extreme left and pro this, that everything is aligned with Facebook on, your post will go to the moon and back, and everybody will see it. So it's
then it makes you wonder, like, if that, like, what's the point even trying to even use that as a platform for Christians, like to promote themselves,
That's my point. I mean, I'm sure there are. There's a pastor I love out here, and a church. Sadly, they're way far from us, but I at least take them in almost every day of the week, and he's very legendary in his own outright, because he's a biblical scholar and a pastor, which is very rare these days. But Pastor John MacArthur of Grace Church in the Valley, he's right up there with the R.C. Sproul's and the J.I. Packards, and a lot of the leading. He says he's the last one standing, because he is. They all died off except for him. But he uses only his sermons to be posted to Facebook. He's not posting because it's a church Facebook page. It's not a John MacArthur page. And he uses only his sermons and his messages and his teachings, and it comes filtered through that. And it's regardless, it's what he's doing to literally bring the gospel to the majority non-believing Facebook community. But he's not, creating his own page, to show his family photos on a barbecue one weekend or every day. He's not doing that. He understands, I believe, the discipline you need to have if you're going to be in that storm, as much as he's endorsed getting off of that ship altogether. Which right now I just called for a port of call and just said, get me off, so I just want to see what that does for me. And
I'm glad to have this conversation with you, because you just keep me reminded, I don't owe anybody an explanation, because they're like, how are you going to reach the masses if you don't know? Guys, if you only knew the truth, of how this works, you would not be, because even now,
do we believe in a secular worldly perspective on how to make it, or do we believe in a God that actually opened the sea? And, I would like to believe that even today, he's that same God. You don't have to fall suit to what everybody and their mother is doing in the interest of getting discovered, maintaining a show, whatever. You don't have to do it. If you really believe in a God that will deliver you. And I know the big argument then is, even from Christians, well, then how do you promote yourself? Here's a starter. How about you pray? Second starter. Wait on the Spirit to give you the wisdom how to do that, and go forward. Some it was start a whole new website or a whole new platform like Parler, like Gab, like Rumble. Start one of those. Those are all good. I would like to call visionary approaches to countering, the unfortunate situation that we're in right now as conservatives. But you don't have to sit there and be hopeless saying, because then you're really kind of showing a lack of faith in God. Well, this is the only way to do it. No, it isn't. It just isn't.
It's true.
Yeah.
I cannot, and you know what? Like, if you asked me, I cannot tell you in one way that I have gotten a show or a booking. I know that sounds crazy through social media. Not one of my shows recently, like that I have had my bookings for my comedy shows, have not been through my social media people. Like, it's been through somebody who knew somebody who told somebody about that church, said, hey, by the way, you should reach out to sister whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Even like now, like with my live show, I used to have on average like 20 people, whatever, watching every week. Now suddenly nothing. Like, it's weird. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
I'm just saying.
I told you I come back in every 30 days just to check in on things and say hi and post something of Pastor John's, or if it's about like a veterans holiday, I'll do that. And then that very night I deactivate again and you won't see me for 30 days. What's interesting is every time I step in on that 30th day, I notice I've lost another 10 or 15 people as friends. And it's, oh, that's interesting. You don't know who it is, but your number goes down. And I've lost like 75 friends who I never probably knew, or if I did know them, the only reason that obviously to them I was malleable or purposeful was because I was on their Facebook page.
They gave them a number.
Right. I'm old school. I mean, if you want to pretend like you're in a friendship with anyone on that site, then I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn, and it's a really good one. And it's for about, a couple of $100,000, but you're going to get the whole bridge. so it's all yours.
Exactly.
You have a tight knit of maybe 5% of your friend base on Facebook. That's a friend, in the definition.
Sure.
And it's just another outlet for you guys to stay in touch. And then everybody else, just confess it, is a click to a number.
It's true. Because literally somebody will friend me, and then the next 5 seconds I get a like to like their page that they created. Like, it's like, dude, nobody's actually friends on social media. I can maybe count on a hand or two, maybe, of friends that are actual friends on my social media. Like you said, literally, I'm helping you. Oh, well, you didn't like none of my stuff, so I'm not liking any of yours, and I'm not gonna blah blah blah. Oh, see, okay, Jerry, look, you're gonna have me deleting stuff because you're reminding me all over again.
It's what it is, I mean, again, the number one decision for me doing this for myself is ultimately, where was I relationally with the Lord?
Amen.
And I knew the Lord was saying to me constantly, look, I'm not on Facebook. I'm the God of the universe. I'm not on this freaking thing. Don't ask. If you're looking for me here, it's actually the thing that's distracting you from me. So what do you want to do? And I said, okay, Lord. So for me, I had to kind of try it out. And I really mean this. There was a kind of an impulse addiction factor that I realized, was tough in those first few weeks. It was really tough. And then as I've gone on, it's going on almost 100 days now. With the exception of those once every 30 days, it's almost like, I don't miss it. I really don't. I mean, am I going to jump back in? I don't know. But I'll tell you, I don't miss it. And my time with the Lord has gotten way better. So
see, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I had just one last question for you.
Okay.
Because the rest you kind of answered in the midst of your other question. So here's one thing here. What is an obstacle that you've had to overcome as an actor?
Oh. Well, there's many.
Yeah. Well, okay. How about we narrow it down to as a Christian, something that has.
Well, yeah. Oh, that's a good point. I'll give you two obstacles though. before I ever went into the military, for right after 9/11, I went in and kind of walked away from the career for a while. I was really all through the 90s and up until when I enlisted, which was 2002.
Mm-hmm.
I was really doing well successfully as a stage performer in New York, off Broadway, Shakespeare theaters, etc. And independent films. I did soaps. So I was really an East Coast New York actor, and I was doing well. And I was playing a lot of versatile roles. Classically trained, classical roles, contemporary roles. And if I got a law enforcement or a soldier role, it was in between, a lot of major roles that mostly had to do with, just nothing of the sort.
Mm-hmm.
When I came out of the military and started to recycle myself back into the business, it was like everybody needed a military guy. So what it did was it kind of typed me, and that's one of the hardest challenges, is that the predominant work that I get is military based, because it's a skill set that obviously is much needed.
Mm-hmm.
But the getting typed for that only is a really hard challenge to overcome.
Yeah.
And the other one, as a believer, and I'm glad you asked this, is to really more than ever. It's another point of why I left Facebook and just really tried to focus most of my faith in the business to be put in the hands of God and left at the throne. Whatever's going to come to me is going to come from Him. I'm going to stop.
That.
Yeah, I'm going to stop being that aggressive, ultra, competitive, almost animalistic type that hunts for work constantly.
Mm-hmm.
I've really left it in the Lord's lap that if something comes along, it's going to be faith centered, or it's going to at least have those ideals, like For Love of a Fish. And it's going to come from God. It's not going to come from a social media site. It's not going to come from me trying to adopt a secularist Hollywood actor mentality where I got to hunt constantly for work. All of that I left social media for, really to just kind of, if I'm semi-retired, so be it. But as a Christian, to really wait on God,
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to, most importantly, as a Christian, I think we need to always stay focused on whatever projects we choose. We make sure that they're pleasing unto the Lord. I mean, we have a standard that is not easy. Certainly, it's not easy to get acting work. Period. To get acting work in an industry that despises, faith-based morality on top of
Right. Yeah.
it, some would think is impossible, but that's kind of where we live, is in the impossible. Because
Amen.
we have a God that is impossible to overcome. So I've really put it in this place where one of the things on the faith-based side for me to be challenged with as an obstacle is to not retreat back into the old Jerry, and rely on this kind of ultra dependent Jerry with God, making God my number one agent, making God my number one press rep, making God my number one manager, and anything that comes from Him will come because it's something He's pleased with. And
Yeah. Wow, that you are helping me.
I hope so.
Like, this was so meant to be. I'm so serious. Like, literally stuff that I said, that I've always said, like, about the same thing you were saying, like getting rid of social media and let God show you. Like, dude, you don't need that. Like, that, you don't have to hustle that way. Like, the typical secular world view of people are like, look, you have to do this, that, and the other. You have to make sure you do it. If you wanted to get discovered, if you want people to know, if you want. And I had gotten off. I literally,
my last agent was constantly in my ear, and she was, she didn't get it. She was a liberal, but I kept drilling her. Look, this is who I am. praise God, not only by the grace of his, his deliverance. I can't just like leave it in a corner when you want me to go up for things that, I
Mhm.
can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I turned down some auditions with them, and I'm only because I was booking with them too, national commercials, a couple of films, did they kind of keep me,
Yeah.
and then because of COVID, they dissolved altogether. But in those 2 years I was repped, it was a battle to maintain that, I'm not going to do anything and everything.
Yeah.
Certainly not things that I don't agree with,
Mhm.
based on my faith. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't, you don't, you, you believe in a God that raises the dead, you know, for
Exactly.
God's sake, what are you afraid of with a little acting career or a comedy career?
For
Yeah, what
sure.
are you afraid of? I mean, he's gonna, maybe he's trying to lead you to something better, that if you focused on him and you stayed away from all that stuff,
So you can hear him.
right, and it'll lead you to the role of your lifetime. I don't know, but
Yeah. But we don't know. Yeah.
unless we listen. Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
Say that. Well, I have enjoyed this
Thank you
for
so
sure. Oh my
much.
gosh. Thank you so much for taking the time out to
You're a
do
hoot.
this, Jerry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously.
Blessings,
Guys,
blessings. And I'm gonna stay on top of your comedy posts on YouTube. So
oh, thank
you got
you.
a new subscriber.
Oh, that is awesome.
All
Yes,
right,
I'll
all right.
definitely continue to post there if nowhere else. I'll
All right.
always keep my YouTube. It's just
Yes.
easier.
Yes.
Well, thanks, Jerry. Take
God bless.
care.
God bless,
Bye, Leah.
Bye.
Okay, guys. Well, that was awesome. If you missed it or if you have not seen it, definitely catch the replay because that was amazing. Just that insight on the way he looks at with social media and things like that is just powerful. Tune in next week for our one-on-one interview with Mr. Robert Shepard, who just released a movie not too long ago. And he was also in the movie Lincoln and so on, which we will talk about next week. So thank you all for tuning in to episode, which one was this? Episode 3. So season 2, episode 3 of Leslie Said What. So I am so excited, like I said, of the way this show is going with this new series. We're gonna have, I think, 2 more for the rest of June. It'll end with June with our interview series. But thank you so much for tuning in. Our interview series with our Christian entertainment industry will end on June 28th. But stay tuned because the guests just keep getting better. So thank you again. That's the end of season 2, episode 3 of Leslie Said What?